Some people like to listen. Oh, thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, if you're at work or something, we certainly understand if it's not possible for you to come on to the mic, but we'd love to have you say hello anytime. Well, Teresa, I didn't realize I was sounding quite so much like a frog today. Yes,
It's
it's
okay. It's just one of those things.
right, right.
Yeah, yeah.
You sound just fine.
Oh, good. Mhm.
We'll just give people a couple more minutes. We had quite a few people sign up, so hopefully they'll be here in a minute. We know sometimes people sign up and then want to listen to the recording, which is perfectly fine.
Well, Teresa, are you all excited about our upcoming retreat this weekend?
Yes, yes, I am. I think it's going to be wonderful, but just because so many people have signed up that I think are just ready for some rest and refresh, you know,
Right.
just to hang
Mm.
out with some fellow nurses who want to be with each other and share
Mhm.
stories and get some inspiration and just really feel cared for, you
And
know.
really
Mm.
create community at the same time too.
Yeah, we're just ready. I'm ready. Obviously, I'm ready for that feeling to I don't know, kind of come out of the Zoom world a little bit and really just connect in person and see what people are like and their funny
Mhm.
little quirks and the I just like to see people come alive with like who they really are. So
Yeah.
Mm.
that's fun for me.
Amen. So
Yeah.
true. I like that rest and refresh. I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, what
We-
do you think, Teresa? We may need
Yeah,
to.
I think we go ahead and get started and this is going to be very conversational. We want people to feel welcome to ask questions and be part of this conversation. Let's see, I was just going to check the chat. It looks like, oh, Nasreen is on the phone. It's nice to have you. Oh, now her name is here. Great.
Wonderful, wonderful,
Wonderful.
wonderful.
Thank you very
Oh,
much.
Jacinta's joining, so that's even,
Yeah. Yeah, I saw her on the list, so that's great.
yeah.
Hey, Jacinth, welcome, welcome. It's nice to see you here. All right, Lynn, why don't we go ahead and get started? We'll kind of go through our little presentation that we have for you today and open it up for conversation and reflection and see what people are thinking about. And we're really here just to serve and to start this conversation about becoming a nurse coach and what that might mean for nursing and how we can all be a part of that.
I need to increase my volume here, so
Okay, take your time.
there we go. Good. Mhm. All right. Well, welcome, welcome. Yeah, today is November 6th, the day after my birthday. I declared
Oh,
a national election for my birthday celebration. Everybody turned out. Uh,
It was quite the party.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, um the reason that we're here today really stems from a huge event in our lives, Teresa and mine, when we had the very fifth annual conference of the American Holistic Nurses in Central Texas. And we have been knowing each other since that time. It was 2009. And at that conference, we actually realized that putting nurse coaching together with the three principles, which is what our curriculum is based on, was actually going to be the very best way to move both the principals and nurse coaching forward. So Teresa and I rushed out, and 6 months later, we actually opened our own program. So that's where all of this stems from. Teresa, how would you like to begin?
Well, I think it's always fun to kind of know where people come from and why you're here, right? Um, I think everyone here is a holistic nurse or knows about holistic nursing. And that's just been the foundation of my career ever since the very beginning. When I've read the very first book by Bernie Siegel, Love, Miracles, and Medicine. And, that's where I did my practice from that space. But, I noticed over the years that seemed further and further in the past, because technology came along. It became more about how many patients can we see, less time. I got to spend less and less time with my patients. And I think that's really where we found ourselves at this fifth annual conference, was like, what's next? Like we've known for a while that this isn't working, that we're not doing nursing the way we really want to. And at that time, my personal health was not doing very well, and neither was my mental health. And when I came across these principles that we talked about in our program, my life changed completely. And it was really just an insight. It was like, oh, I did not know how much my thinking was giving me the experience I was having, and it wasn't very good. And so when we saw this as a way to bring these principles into nurse coaching, it truly has been a journey of evolution, of waking up, of seeing the depth and the breadth of what it means to have that in our life. And we want to bring that to this conversation and to you, because we know everywhere we turn, we hear about nurses saying, I'm burned out, I'm frustrated, I'm not doing the kind of nursing I want to do. Nursing isn't what I thought it would be. And I think, I don't know, raise your hand. Has everybody been there? Yep. Like, I feel like it wouldn't be a conversation on the national level if many, many people weren't feeling it. And so I think that's where we come in with the nurse coaching, to highlight what nurses do. But it also gives us our power back, our ability to connect with our patients, with ourselves, with our community, and more importantly, with each other. I think so many people have talked about, the nurses eat their young idea. And I think that was just born out of not really knowing how to take care of the patients as well as ourselves first. And this program puts the nurse first. Take care of ourselves first, and the rest follows.
It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with the system. That system is no longer serving nurses. And this might be an excellent time just to reflect on a couple of questions and see what your personal insights might be. So, are you looking to bring fulfillment back to your career?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to thrive, not just survive in your practice?
Mm-hmm.
Those are questions that'll come back to you after this call. And you deserve to know what your answer is to those questions. It's been too long that we're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole in a system that doesn't serve us for the most part.
Yeah. I think that's true. I think we've tried to put ourselves in the box of survival mode for a really long time. Like, how can I do all the things I need to do, especially if you're doing a lot of charting or seeing patients, 20 minutes 15 minutes, 10 minutes, you're walking by the room going, hey, are you okay? You know, none of us like that. You know, I went into nursing because I love people. I want to share the knowledge that we have as a nurse. I remember feeling the excitement of all the new knowledge I was learning about patients, patient care, their lives, the ability to help people navigate, health challenges. That was thrilling. And somewhere along the way, we sort of lost that a little bit. And I think we're all looking for that renewed sense of purpose, the renewed way to do nursing in modern times. We can't go back. We can't go back to the old way of nursing, whatever that was. I was reflecting on that, and I think that I had this idea of what nursing was, and then there was the reality of nursing, and they didn't match my dream, which I'd never really thought about it like that before. And through this work, through the teaching, coaching, and coaching a lot of people, it seems we're more similar than we are different. We want a good life. We want to be happy. We want to find purpose and fulfillment in our jobs. We want to make a difference. And it seems to me people who are attracted, nurses especially, to coaching are attracted because they feel that sense of purpose of being able to bring their gifts and their talents to the people that need them the most. And this coaching journey is incredible. It's a way for us to really shine the light on what nurses can do, who we are. But more than that, we can actually directly impact the people we know in our families, our friends, and our communities. Like Florence Nightingale said, nursing is knowledge. It's the knowledge of how to put a body into a state of health. And it's knowledge that everyone ought to have. And we know that because how many of your friends and family call you every time something happens? You're a nurse, help me, right? And we do. We answer the call every time, and we do our very best to guide and protect people, human beings. I met a man a couple days ago. He's a software engineer who all of his friends kept asking, who can I ask normal questions about health, my diagnosis, this medication? And he said, I don't know, let's ask a nurse. So he actually created an app for people in the public to hit a button and talk to a nurse. And I thought, hold on a minute. Hasn't a nurse thought about that before? But he had the skill to make it happen. And I find that thrilling that there's more and more people out here who are wanting to make that kind of difference. But for me, selfishly, I want nurses to do it. I want nurses to be the ones that create this wave of change that allows us to connect with everyone that needs to have our services and be paid for it. People go to massages every day. They spend an hour, they spend $125, $150, and they leave and they feel good for an hour. Coaching helps people feel good for the rest of their lives. And it's an important work to do. And as we come together, for this bigger impact in the world, we want you with us.
Really, we created this program with you in mind. We absolutely want to assist you in transforming your personal career, your personal professional life, one insight at a time. So we have a completely online program that is self-paced, and that is what allows it to be flexible, and you can fit it in the rest of your life.
That being said, nursing or coaching is a skill. So there is a skill to coaching because it requires us to be aware, to recognize the communication skills that we have, to connect with other human beings on a different level, and to really love unconditionally in that relationship as a coach and coachee. And I think that in itself is healing. I was talking to Stacy earlier, and she said, and I was telling her about one of our Harry Durbitsky, who he says, you guys don't know it. Nurses don't know that every time you walk in the room, we fall in love with you a little bit more because we've never felt so cared for in our life. And as a coach, you get to create that space for someone every time you talk to someone. Um, I had to laugh because he was so funny when he said it. He's like, "You just don't know," and he was just grinning from ear to ear, and I knew that he was talking about that from his heart, and it warmed my heart that he was able to tell us that.
We really want to allow the opportunity for you to step away from your usual daily burnout and rediscover the joy that nursing provides for all of us. The reason that you came into nursing in the first place, that little spark of inspiration, of passion, is still there. We just need to fan the flame a little so we can get our passion back in regard to serving our clients, but also in regard to serving ourselves, because we know that there's a purpose that we're on this planet today. And we know what that purpose is. For almost everybody that we talk to, it's nursing, because we're nurses. That's where we have our most creative aspect of our lives. And we just want to assist you in bringing that out. My goodness, the way that nurse coaches are blossoming today are ways that I think would never have been imagined by the people that initially began this process. We even have some students literally who are octogenarians who've had a full nursing career, but they're not ready to quit. They want to continue connecting with people because that's their love, and they have so much experience and something to offer. But it's true for every generation that of nurses. And what we have in common is so much more than what our differences are. So as we move forward together, the profession will absolutely come to the top. It's going to be rising, and people are going to be noticing what it is that nurses do. And we are creating a new definition of nursing.
Tell us the definition, Lynn.
We're creating it.
You know what's fun about that question is the definition is what you want it to be. We're going to create it together because for every person it means something a little bit different. But I know that every time we put that out there and say, what is the definition of nursing? We get things like healer and caring and compassion. And I want to add another one, money. We get to make money as a nurse coach because the services we have and the skills that we have are worth it in this society where people have to work, we have to make a living, but we can do that sharing our knowledge. And it's a funny conversation because most people are like, but can't we get it for free? We could, but most of us had to pay quite a lot for our education and our continuing education. And the bottom line is, in this society, nothing is for free, whether it's monetary, whether it's time, whether it's, the commitments that you make and the things that you do with your life, they all have a value. And I think it's one of those places that nurses are really going to shine as we embrace the value that we bring to the equation as a nurse, as a coach, and step into some new shoes, some bigger shoes, maybe shoes that don't fit quite right for a while. But the more we step out and begin these conversations and consider, what else is there for nursing? What else do nurses want to do? What can we do? The sky's the limit, but we have our own little limiting beliefs here sometimes. And boy, nurse coaching can really bridge some gaps for us as a profession, as individual human beings, but also for the people that we touch, the people we influence. And it's really important to keep in mind that when we take on the role of a nurse coach, we are saying yes to ourselves, we're saying yes to our lives, and we're saying yes to the communities we live in. And I don't think there's any more important work than that, at least for me. And I know a lot of people feel the same way, just like the software app developer. He was like, I want to make lives better. Let's see what we can do. This is a really big world, and there's a lot of hurting people. And we know we can make a difference and an impact, and it's going to take all of us to do it. And it's going to take us getting organized to be able to speak a common language, to create this movement of nurses who are coaches, who want to be seen and heard as the professionals that we are.
And it's all going to be guided through our own inner wisdom. We've long used the words nursing intuition, and now we actually can bring that understanding directly to our work and acknowledge it for what it is. The holistic nurses actually renamed it as informed knowing. So if you want the scientific terminology, it's informed knowing. But all of us have felt that moment when we absolutely had to go to the end of the hall and check on that patient. And the minute we got there, we realized why that patient was needing a nurse. It was just an inner sense that we had to be there for someone, and we appeared at the door at the right time. So working with our inner wisdom is not just a nice little extra anymore. It's the basis of all of our practice. And financial freedom will come through knowing our inner wisdom, being able to respond to it in the moment. Maybe Teresa, talk about the time that you worked with a client for hours and hours, and it felt like no time at all.
I had a patient that came out of surgery and was having trouble breathing from the very beginning. And we were trying to figure out what's happening. And so we have her on BiPAP, and she's anxious, and we're doing all the things, monitoring her, waking her up from surgery, and she just wasn't getting better. And so we started making phone calls and doing tests. And I remember about 3 hours into taking care of her, I thought, wow, this is so easy. What's different today? And I realized I was just doing the next thing and the next thing and the next right thing and the next right thing. And 6 hours later, I finally take her to the ICU, and she's doing much better. And I get her there, and she takes off the BiPAP and she walks to the little restroom commode in the room. And I was like, what happened? And so we kind of shielded her so she could use the restroom. And she got done and she gave me a hug and she said, I am so grateful for you. She said, I wasn't ever afraid.
Oh.
And I thought, wow. And I realized on reflection, when I got home, I thought, I don't regret one decision, not one. Because sometimes when you're taking care of people, you're like, oh, I wish I would have done whatever it is. I didn't have that. I just felt a peace. I felt guided, and I felt like I just knew what the next step was, and it was easy. I asked my director one time, I said, if you could have anything you wanted as a nurse leader, I said, what would it be? And she stopped and she looked at me and she goes, I want the easy button. And I realized this is the easy button. What we teach in this program, we call it the 3 principles, but it's really how humans work. And we point to that as just this innate ability to navigate life. The beauty is when you know that's how the system works, life gets easier. When we don't know how it works, it looks like I'll be okay when, or it looks like if only this would change, everything would be okay. What this program does for people is it shows you how you work from the inside out without judgment, without criticism, without trying to force the change, but simply through insight into how you work. It literally changes everything in your world. You get new eyes to see the world with. And when you can do that, you're able to step into those bigger shoes, into those shoes that maybe feel a little uncomfortable for a minute, but they become your new shoes. And then you keep stepping into the new pair of shoes as you grow and develop as a human being and as a nurse, bringing this message out to the world.
I know one of our students told us, I feel like I have my purpose back.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, purpose. And another student said, I can now handle the stressful situations with a new sense of calm. It's being that eye of the hurricane, that calm in the middle of everything when chaos is happening all around us. Teresa actually was written up in a book by Joe Bailey, and that was the chapter that she was featured in, and she talked about her experience during the pandemic.
Yeah. You know, that visual does something for me every time Lynn says it. The very first time I heard her say that to me, I'm trying to remember the circumstance, but it was very chaotic. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. And I could feel the groundedness of like, I know this is me, but what do I do? You know? And she said, just take a pause. You are the eye of the hurricane. Everything in that space is calm. So everything can be going on around you, but you can have that deep sense of peace and calm. And when you come from that place, it really does give us something we can count on for our lives and for everything that we do.
We know the next step.
We know the next step. And literally that's what coaching is helping people get to their next step. We're not there to fix people. We're not there to do it for them, just to uncover this ability that we have to recognize our thinking and to decide from that place of calm what our next step might be. And it's okay to make mistakes. There is nothing wrong in a mistake, none. But having the ability to recognize ourselves and our profession is an incredible place to come from.
We'd love to invite you to join us in Advancing Nurse Coaching. It's been such a joy to put the program together. And in fact, I'll just mention that it's actually offered in a doctoral program. It's offered through the Texas Wesleyan University as part of their DNP program. So this is something that is available to nurses at all levels. Any registered nurse with any level of education, all the way up to PhD and DNP, are welcome to join us. But it's work that we all have in common. So the things that we talk about are the things that are absolute bedrock. We think of them as gravity. You wouldn't argue with gravity. Gravity is. So we're putting those undeniable forces at work in our lives and in our patients' lives, because that's the truth of who we are. We have a lot of ways to come into the program, but one course at a time or through all, sign up for all of them. The requirement for the nurse coach exam to become nationally board certified is 60 hours of continuing education, and 60 hours of coaching practice. So all of those are included in our course. We love the aspect of being able to assist you through your coaching, because we have individualized student faculty advising sessions, 2 of those for each of the 4 courses. And students, because it's self-paced, they can come and go as they need. But for the students at the DNP program, we created it as a 16-week program. So if you're someone who absolutely knows that you want to go through it straight through, it can be done in a matter of 3.5 months. We do have live coaching calls on a weekly basis, and those are where you learn to coach the other students, and you also get to hear the faculty and the more advanced students coaching the new students. So we're always learning by listening as well as by doing.
It's a very healing space, I have to say. It's a very healing space that we hold for the coaching. And we just have so many people who are like, I came back for a tune-up, you know. People they want that connection, and we do allow people to drop in and get reconnected and nourished as they need to do that. So if this is something that resonates with you, we would love to talk to you about what your needs, wants, and desires are, if nurse coaching is right for you. I can't imagine anyone not wanting to be a nurse coach, but of course, it's my baby and I love it. And I think everyone should be that. But we'd just love to connect with you, to talk with you, to explore what it might look like for you as a coach, and open our aperture a little bit, see what's possible. Lots of nurse coaches keep their full-time jobs and do it as a side hustle with people that resonate with them, depending on what you like to do. Any kind of coaching you can imagine, a nurse coach is doing that, whether it's health, diet, nutrition, that's the same thing, but cardiac rehab, they're doing a lot of nurse navigator stuff, trying to help people navigate the healthcare system. But some other people have experience with diabetes or certain health conditions. Anything that resonates with you, you can do as a nurse coach. You are within your scope and standard of practice with your education to bring your knowledge to the people who need you. And I would love to explore that with you.
Well, and one aspect of our program, which is surprising to most people, is that our educational format is entirely learning through insight. So there's not a lot of homework. There isn't any homework. There are additional resources if you want to use them. There are things that you can read and so forth, but not required. And as you see the framework, it's written up as an outline, you will be able to watch that blossom in your life and in your work through the 7 implications that we teach. And it's just been marvelous to watch how people have changed and acknowledged their reasons for coming into the profession in the first place. I know we've had a number of students who have let us know that our course really was their last stop before they left the profession. The numbers have been just staggering. 27% of nurses left their jobs in the last 3 years. So we're at a point now where nursing really is in a crisis, and it's time for us to stand up, declare who we are, declare the value of our work, and be good to our public.
And be good to ourselves. The first 2 courses that we teach are for the nurse first. And I love that about what we do. People tell me all the time, they're like, I've never really stopped to think about what I want and how I want to live my life first. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to bring that to an individual and especially to a nurse. And I really, really want everyone to be a nurse coach. But if this work resonates with you, I'd really like to have a conversation and explore it with you.
We've actually asked a colleague of ours to help us develop an ebook. What's the title now, Teresa? What is nurse coaching?
The numb nurse breaking the chains? Oh, hold on, Lynn. We're working on some things because we just really want to help people see
This is
that.
brand new for us. I mean, like as of maybe yesterday.
Yeah.
So
It's called The Numb Nurse When Compassion Runs Dry and You're Running on Empty.
yeah, so if you guys would like, we'd love to send it out to you, and if you could give us your feedback, it would be appreciated. It's
Including the title and including the artwork.
any illustrations, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anything to make it better would be much appreciated.
Yeah. So does that sound like something you might like to see?
I would.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, we have a small number of spaces available because we really want to give you our full attention as much as possible. And Teresa and I are the entire faculty at the moment because you'll be working directly with us. And for those of you who have additional questions, we would love to schedule another call with you. You can just go to our website, which is nursecoaching.com, and fill out the contact us, the last page on the website. So we'll also send out the recording and love to get your feedback about what you heard today. And you can email us with all of your additional questions. Well, let's see. What's yours, Teresa? Teresa at nursecoaching.com.
Yeah.
TERESA at nursecoaching.com.
I'll put it in here.
Well, what have you heard today that sparked your interest or kind of created a curiosity in what we might have said? Anything that touched your intellect or heart in what we've said that bears more exploration? Yeah, anybody who's on the phone is welcome to unmute and
Well, I guess for me, I'm in NP school, and right now I'm taking a break from it right now, because that's some serious burnout right there.
we know.
Yeah, with being in NP school and working full time. Um, it was funny. My advisor told me, "Yeah, while you're in the program, get some help," and I'm like, "From who?" Because that's like, okay, let me go get some money off the money tree. But anyway, yeah, it's I I I'm kind of thinking about like what I want to do. There was a part of me that wanted to start my own practice. Um and that feeling won't go away. Although I sometimes think maybe it would just be better to just work in a hospital and call it a day, as an NP, the way a lot of them do. But I want to see, if I do end up starting my own practice, how can I make it different rather than just being a conventional, NP in a private practice? How can I make mine different?
Well, let me say that the National Institutes of Health actually has done a study of certified nurse coaches, and what they found were that 25% of the nurse coaches work in the hospital, and 25% are self-employed. So that's 50% right there. Where's the other 50%? Community. They're working for hospice, they're working for school nursing, they're working for doctor's office, they're working for any place, public health, any place that you find nurses in the community. That's where nurse coaches are going to be. NPs, oh my goodness, Teresa. And I just went to the Texas Nurse Practitioner meeting, and we had a flood, an absolute flood of NPs who were telling us that they're ready for something new and they're open to looking new. And of course, what we see is that nurse coaching is really a perfect fit for nurses that are already NPs. What else did you want to say, Teresa, about that group of nurses at TMP?
Well, I think they're starting to band together to create their own practices of the kind of nursing they want to do. NPs are kind of in a unique position depending on where you live, where you can see patients, but you can also create your practice how you want to create it. One of our good friends, Barbara Phillips, actually helps nurse practitioners create their businesses. And we think nurse coaching is the perfect dovetail to be the foundation of your practice. Because there's the concierge practices now where, you pick your specialty, or a lot of people are doing the functional medicine portion because it includes this coaching piece. How do we put a body into a state of health? That's what we want to help people do. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the medical profession. And there's any number of ways that we can do that. I just talked to a nurse practitioner. No, she wasn't a nurse practitioner. She hired a nurse practitioner into her coaching company, and they're creating a network of nurse coaches. They currently have 6, and they're partnering with the physicians in their community to serve the patients that the doctors can't. And so it's one of the ways they're getting paid now as nurse coaches is they're, like I said, partnering with the physician, and the physician is writing a prescription to have nurse coaching, and they're taking it to their companies that they work for and asking their FSA and HSA accounts to pay for it, because those accounts allow you to do some alternative modalities and pay for it with those funds. So while that's fairly new and just getting started, I think the more people demand it, the more the benefits, the human resources will see that as a way to help their employees become healthier and create that mental health, mental wellness, and along with the physical health and well-being stuff that nurse coaches are so good at. I don't know, Jacinth, does that answer your question? Can I clarify it a little bit more?
No, it does answer my question. I'm a little curious as to how long were the NPs before they decided they wanted something new.
Oh,
That
okay.
worries me
So
a little bit.
at the TMP conference, some of them were brand new.
Right.
They had been, I've said, I've been an NP for a year. I'm in primary care and I want out.
Oh
I
boy.
cannot tell you how many people told us that.
Ah.
And I was like, oh, you cannot quit now. Nurse coaching is here. Let nurse coaching guide your practice. Because as a nurse coach, one of the things that you are required to do is your own transformation first. And that's that looking deeper, finding out who and what who you are and what you want to bring to the world. Because we don't create anything without a plan, right? We have to at least have a desire or a direction we want to go. And if we don't know, guess who can help you? a nurse coach, because it's been around long enough that people are beginning to see the value, and we're making a lot of strides in the places that we work. Really, truly, what makes your heart sing? What kind of nurse practitioner do you want to be? What's your ideal vision of what, if you could do anything as a nurse practitioner, what would that look like?
Well, I wanted to do primary care. I still want to do primary care.
Mhm.
But I guess like if I could have my perfect vision, I'd like to get people, if possible, more off of medications and kind of focus more on preventative and um try to give them their lives back a little bit more, where they're enjoying their lives a little bit more, and they're not visiting the hospitals as much as, as they are. They're not taking as many medications, that they're basically able to, enjoy their lives a little bit more.
Spoken like a true coach. It's true. So I think this is one of the places where we struggle with the system the way it is now and the system we have in our ideal world. And they don't have to be separate, right? I think the people who struggle in primary care feel like the world is just coming at me. A patient comes every 10 minutes. If I'm not out in 10 minutes, somebody's knocking on the door. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, right? And with coaching, we actually get to slow down to speed up, because we have this innate, really cool ability to get to root causes quicker. And our patients know it. They don't want to be there any longer than we want to keep them there, right? But we want to serve them. We want to give them the things they need to live their good life, to understand if they have a diagnosis or a medication, how to navigate that. I think that's one of the reasons that some of the nurse practitioners are, like, let's say you were the owner of your practice, you're the primary care person, and you may have one or two nurse coaches that fill in those gaps for your clients. And in that way, the patient feels completely supported by getting the right, education and medicine and stuff from the nurse practitioner, and then the nurse coach in the practice who totally understands, and you're all on the same wavelength per se, can really serve those clients, and they just feel so loved and taken care of, and they can ask questions, and it gives them the ability to have the time to process what's going on with them and make their choices from there.
Well, I would love to tell you a story about one of our NPs that works in endocrinology at a outpatient clinic. But I'm going to say, first of all, that Texas Tech has a special program that's funded through the federal government to assist nurse practitioners in setting up their own practices. So that's a resource that's available.
Okay. Texas Tech, you say?
Right. And I forget Texla, Texas and Louisiana, like TEXLA, health resource is what it's called. But one of our nurse practitioners saw a client who had lost 4 family members in 3 months. And she was just beside herself with grief, couldn't remember to take her blood pressure medicine and check her blood sugar and give herself her insulin. So Jan just sat with her quietly and she said, you can't be in 2 places at once. You can't be here now, taking care of yourself and living in the past. And the lady just got fire in her eyes and she said, do you mean to tell me that I'm not taking care of myself because I'm thinking about them? I can't bring them back, but I have the rest of my life to live. So 3 months later, she came back with more blood sugar checks than she'd had in the previous 3 years and an A1C that was ideal for her. Hardly took any time. And it was absolutely life-changing.
Mm.
It wasn't just the labs. It was her heart. It was where she was living her life from that she could identify and that made the difference. And the nurse saw that through her own insight and mentioned it. And the client heard very deeply and did what she needed to take care of herself. And we had a little student who was working in the emergency department. They wheeled in a young man, just 25 years old, that was too morbidly obese to ambulate independently. And he said, I want to make some changes, but I'm here to talk to the doctor. I want to find out what's possible. And the nurse said, well, the doctor's over there and can't come right now, but let's talk. And as the conversation unfolded, she said through her own insight, you know, calories are energy, and you are all fueled up to go in any direction you want. He was so inspired. He, of course, wanted to stay in contact with this wonderful healthcare provider, but not possible in that setting. We'll never know how life-changing that might have been for him.
Mm.
That reminds me of the impact of nurses. And when I was 18, I was 4 months pregnant and had a tumor removed off my ovary. So here I am, 18, laying in the hospital bed by myself, mind you, and wondering what am I going to do, right? And a nurse came in and she said, I can see you're having a hard time. I'm going to come back and sit with you after I pass these medicines. And you don't have to talk to me, but I'm just going to be here just in case. I still don't know what she looked like. All I saw was her name tag, her name, and it said BSN. And she did come back, and I heard her sit down, and I immediately turned my back, and I never felt more loved in my life. And I knew I wanted to help people to feel that way. And I fell asleep. The next day was a much better day. But I just remember the impact that has had for me all these years later. It's one of the reasons I became a nurse. You know, there's always these little moments in our life that kind of guide us. And that was one of those guiding moments. And it's just as the healing that nurses can do. And sometimes we don't get to know the outcomes. She'll never know that it sparked in me or renewed that desire to become a nurse. And that changed my life.
We're all here because of a turning point in our lives that helped us wake up to who we are and what we're here to do. And if that's something that resonates with you, my goodness, we would love to include you with our student body and assist you on the next step in your journey of nursing.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for being here today, for staying, for listening, and truly just appreciate you. And thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, ladies.
All right. Everyone take care. Have a good rest of your day and week. And look for our little ebook and give us some feedback. We'd appreciate it.
And Teresa's email again is teresa@nursecoaching.com.
Yep, I'm right here. I'm your girl.
Talk soon.
All right.
So
Bye.
much.
Bye-bye.
Okay. All righty.
Bye. Thank you. I'll see you guys this weekend. I'm going to be at
Wonderful. I can hardly wait.
at the holistic seminar, the
Yeah.
conference is the conference, yeah.
It's
In
the retreat. Yep.
Mineral
Yep.
Wells.
Mineral
Yeah.
Wells. Yep. We'll be looking for you. I'll get
All
the
right, I'll
plug,
be there.
okay? All right.
All right.
Take
Take
care.
me
Bye.
with you, please, okay? Take me with you.
Rosemary, you can come. It's okay.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
All right.
for now.
Right.
Thanks.
Bye.